Yeah, hi friends, my name is Sudhir Chandan and welcome back to my channel Energy and Environment Education. Friends, this is part B of the chapter 2.1 Fuel and Combustion. I hope you must have gone to the part A. If not yet, please go to the part A of the chapter, which is equally important because a lot of questions can come from that part also. And even this part B also is important, equally important. And you can expect a lot many questions in short type questions or long type questions or even the one word answer question type questions also coming from different parts of the chapter, friends. So these two part A, part B are equally important, and if you have missed the part A, please go through the first part A, then you can come back to part B, friends. Also, I have uploaded different videos on these chapters, which are useful for you. Maybe they can help you out to prepare your examination in this year if you are going to appear for it, or in the coming years if you are going to appear for it. So these chapters can help you out. These videos can help you out actually for the preparation of exam, friends. So please do watch all the videos that I have posted in my channel, and please do subscribe my channel because this will really motivate me to prepare many such videos in coming days, and you can help you really out for preparation of your exam, friends. So before wasting further time, let's start the video, friends. So let's start with the content first, friends. In the part A of the video that I have uploaded, in that part I have discussed basically about the liquid fuel. I mean the introduction to fuel. First of all, I have given. Then I've discussed about the properties of the liquid fuel and the storage of the liquid fuel. In this part, I am going to discuss about the solid fuel, that is coal. So basically, I am going to deal with the classification of coal. First of all, then also I would explain you the analysis of coal, the two type of analysis of coal, and also the storage, handling, and preparation of coal. So these are three sections that I'm going to deal with about the solid fuel in this part of the video, friends. And hopefully these are very much important for you when you prepare for exams, friends. So first comes the coal classification. So you can see here the coal is classified into three major types. So these three names you must remember because they may ask you in a short type questions, or maybe object type question also they can ask you. So these three names you must remember: the anthracite, bituminous, and the lignite are the three major types of coal, which is on which the coal is classified. And however, there is no clear demarcation between them. And coal is further classified as semi-anthracite, semi-bituminous, and subbituminous. And anthracite is the oldest, you can say, coal from the geophysical perspective. So they may also ask you to state which is the oldest coal. So in that case, anthracite will be the correct answer. It is a hard core compost. So if they ask you about the anthracite, so briefly you can explain that it is the oldest coal, and the composition you can also explain here what is given here. Lignite is the youngest coal from the geological perspective. So you can see here, as per the oldest concern, anthracite is the oldest one, and the youngest one is the lignite. So these two names you must remember in this way also. And it's a soft coal. That one was a hard coal. The difference also they can ask you briefly. They can ask you to explain, and also they can ask you as a one-word answer type question, friends. Fished carbon refers to carbon in free state, not combined with other elements. So they may also may ask you what do you mean by fished carbon. This type of question also had come earlier and can come in the exam also, for friends. Volatile matter refers to those combustible constituents of coal that vaporize when coal is heated. So they may ask you to define the volatile matter also. So this type of question can come, I mean, from the different part of this, paragraph, whatever you are seeing in the, slide, friends. So this is very important, as far as the exam is concerned, friends. So as far the gradation of coal is concerned, so there are different grades are given, grade A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you can see the calorific value accordingly is like, so for example, A is exceeding 6,200 kilocalorie per kg, the calorific value, and once you go down, the calorific value decreases. So A is a better coal, and likewise G is a poorest level type of coal you can consider. So you can grade the coal accordingly on the basis of calorific value. So they may ask you how to, I mean, they can ask you to classify the coal, and also they may ask you to explain the gradation of coal. So when they ask you to classify the coal as a whole, you can give the that paragraph that I mentioned in the last slide, friends. And also when you are asked to grade the coal, so you can list it out different type of coals, grading, and the calorific value accordingly, friends. GCP for various coals also is given here. The lignite, the GCP value is 4,500, and Indian coal it is 4,000, Indonesian coal is 5,500, South African coal as a region wise you can see here, country wise the different type of coals are there. and they have their own calorific value. So this is also very important. And for exam also they can ask you which is the best the type of coal, and also on GCV value also they may ask you question, and which country is having the best type of coal with the as far as the GCV value is concerned. They may ask you same question in different ways, friends. So this is very important for you to understand. And this is also an important part of chapter where they may ask you to give the analysis of coal. So basically there are two methods, the ultimate analysis and the proximate analysis. They may ask you to explain the two different methods, or they may also ask you to differentiate between the two methods. So you must understand these two methods and also their differences. Ultimate analysis determines all coal components, elements, solid or gaseous, and the proximate analysis determines only the fixed carbon, volatile matter, moisture, and as percentages. So this is the basic difference between the ultimate analysis and the proximate analysis, which you should remember and understand also. Ultimate analysis is determined in a properly equipped laboratory by a skilled chemist, while proximate analysis can be determined with a simple apparatus. This is the second difference you can see here. So both the differences you must remember, friend, and understand also. It may be noted that the proximate has no connection with the word approximate. This is another term that you must understand and remember, friends. So here two differences are given between the two methods, the ultimate analysis and the proximate analysis. They may ask you in the exam to differentiate between the two terms, two methods. So in that case, you can explain in this way, friends. Now coming to the proximate analysis, friends, this is very important to understand. Proximate analysis indicates a percentage by weight of the fixed carbon, volatiles, ash, and moisture. These are four components in the case of when you are going for the proximate analysis, friends. The moisture, ash, volatile matter, and the fixed carbon. Now see here the amount of fixed carbon and volatile combustible matter directly contribute to the heating value of the coal. So when you determine the heating value of a coal, two important terms are very important. I mean components are very important. That is the fixed carbon and the volatile. So fixed carbon acts as a main heat generator. So more you have the fixed carbon, more the heat will be generated, and better it is. And high volatile matter contains indicates easy ignition of fuel. So if it is highly volatile, this means easily it will be burned. So these are two major components which you must understand when you categorize the coal. And then you see the ash content is important in the design of the furnace. See, more the ash is there in the coal, it's not visible enough. So for that you need to understand how much the content of the ash is there in the coal. So ash content is also equally important to design the furnace grade combustible volume pollution control equipment. See, more the ash, this is more pollution will be there. So for ash handling system also need to be upgraded. So basically that's why I'm saying this is very important for the burning of the coal, or this fixed carbon and volatile combustible matter is important. But for the handling of the coal and other aspects, pollution and other aspects, you have to understand that the this thing also is important. This is that ash is also important. And so a typical proximate analysis of various coal is given in the table 1.5. So you can see here for the Indian coal you have the moisture content is 5.98, but Indonesian coal you have 9.43, South African coal you have 8.5. Now as far as the fixed carbon is concerned, you see the Indian coal is having 34.69, but in the South African coal you see here the fixed carbon is more. So as I said, for the better coal, if you have when you have the fixed carbon, more fixed carbon is there, and volatile combustion matter is more there. So you see here in the case of South African coal you have the more fixed carbon, and in Indonesian coal comparatively you have lesser but better fixed carbon. But in the case of Indian coal you have a very less fixed carbon. That's the reason why we prefer to have South African coal or Indonesian coal compared to the Indian coal. So although the numbers as a number we have a good amount of coal reserved here, but as a quality of coal you consider you have better coal quality as a South African coal or Indonesian coal compared to the Indian coal. Now compared to the volatile matter, if you see here 20.70 is the figure that we are getting for the Indian coal. But if you see the Indonesian coal, it is 29.79, and South African coal it is 23.28. This means these two are more volatile. They will burn in a very short time and in a better way, friends, compared to the Indian coal. That's why the companies or the power plant they are considering this type of coal more in use than the Indian coal, because even the volatile matter content if you see is less in the Indian coal. So if you compare these three type of coals, I mean this coal from different regions, so our coal is not so of a good quality here. That's why, friends. And if you see the ash content here, now just reverse. In the case of ash content, which should not be more. Here in Indian coal we have more ash content. In Indonesian coal we have less ash content, and also in South African coal you can see comparatively less ash content. So if you see as per the coal analysis concerned, we should have more fixed carbon, more volatile matter, and less ash. But if you see the Indian coal, you have find just opposite. That is, you have less fixed carbon, less volatile, and higher ash content. And that's why we do not prefer to have the Indian coal for our power plant or any other company. friends. So this is very important for you to understand, and also to remember here about the proximate analysis, friends. Now, when you go for the ultimate analysis, in the case of ultimate analysis, indicates the various element chemical constituents. So, unlike the proximate analysis, you will have here the other chemical constituents also is considered here, like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, sulfur, etc. These things are also considered when you are going for the detailed analysis, that is the ultimate analysis. So in this case, you see here the different components are listed out here: moisture, mineral matter, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, sulfur, oxygen. So all these are listed out here. Accordingly, you can see the Indian coal and the Indonesian coal comparison is given in as a percentage. So this is also important for you to understand, and they may ask you to when they ask you to differentiate between the two. This also can be an useful terms that can be highlighted during the exam, friends, when you write for the differences. And also they may ask you to give some examples and the components, different components in the case of ultimate analysis, and the components which we have in the case of proximate analysis. That also should be remembered, friends. So this is very important. Now, when you go for the relationship between ultimate analysis and proximate analysis, different type of questions they may ask you, and also this very formula is very important for you to understand, and also to learn, because in exams they may ask you several questions, basically numerical type questions based on this formula, where they ask you to give the relationship between the ultimate analysis and the proximate analysis. So this is very important, where percent C is calculated with this formula, percent H is calculated with this formula, percent N2 is calculated with this formula, and where the C is the percent of fixed carbon, A is the percent of S, Vm is the percent of volatile matter, M is the percent of moisture. So in the case of examination, if it is a short type question, maybe they can give you some these values, and they may straight away ask you to calculate it. But in that case, you have to remember the formula concerned between the relationship between the ultimate and proximate analysis, or they may ask you one long type questions, where they may give you first of all to briefly explain the two terms, two methods, the ultimate and proximate analysis. Also, they may ask you a second question will be in that same part, will be to differentiate between the two terms, two methods, and then the relationship between the ultimate and proximate analysis, and also they may give you one numerical based on this particular formula, friends. So this formula is very important for you to understand, to mug up, and this the earlier also questions have been asked, and again you can expect to have some questions from this particular formula, friends. Now, handling of coal is very important. That is, storage and preparation of coal is very important. The main goal of good coal storage is to minimize the carpet loss and also the loss due to spontaneous combustion. So this thing is very important about how you store the coal, because there should not be any carpet loss ongoing, and also there should not be any combustion, because if it gets ignited, so this will be really hazardous for everybody in the plant. So that's why the handling of the coal or the storage of coal is very much important. Formation of soft carpet comprising coal dust and soil causes carpet loss. So these things has to be remembered. So I'm not going to explain in detail here. So basically what I'm trying to explain you here is that the storage of coal is very much important, and the methodology that is adopted to store the coal has to be understood by you, and also to be remembered by you, and why it is hazardous and how it is can be better managed. These things has to be understood by you, friends. The measures that would help in reducing the carpet loss. Now these are the 2 points where they highlighted what are the different measures you can take to reduce the carpet losses. So preparation of the hard ground for coal to be stacked upon. So it's not to be soft, soft ground. Also preparation of a standard storage base out of concrete and brick. These two things are very much important when you are going for the storage of coal. So when they ask you to write some notes or briefly explain the storage of coal, so you can highlight these 2 points, which can be very much important, and you can briefly explain the 2 points also, and the methodology to store the coal, friends. Now coming to the preparation of coal. Preparation of coal prior to feeding into the boiler is an important step for achieving good combustion. So large and irregular lumps of coal may cause the following problems. So these are the list of the problems which can be caused due to the large and irregular lumps of coal. So basically you need to understand that how you prepare the coal is very much essential before you feed inside the boiler, friends. So poor combustion conditions and inadequate furnace temperature results with the irregular lumps of coal. Higher excess air resulting in higher stack loss, increase of unburned in the as low thermal efficiency. So these things are happening if there is large and irregular lumps of coal when you're feeding inside the boiler, friends. So you need to understand the key how you prepare the coal in a better way, such that these things are not getting problematic for you. So as per the last slide, we saw the preparation of coal is very important. So large and irregular lumps of coal can cause a lot of problems. So therefore, proper sizing of coal is very much important. So proper coal sizing is one of the key measures to ensure efficient combustion. Proper coal sizing with specific relevance to the type of firing system helps toward even burning. So if the coal size is proper and evenly, then there will be proper burning, even burning, and reduce ash losses and better combustion efficiency. But if you have the irregular size and higher larger lumps of coal, so in that case what will happen, it will not burn efficiently and you will have some problems. So coal is reduced in size by crushing and pulverizing. So for that reason only you need to crush the coal and pulverize the coal such that you have equal amount, type of coal size when you feed into the boiler. So these things are very important for you to understand. This helps to reduce the power consumption also in the crusher. So these things are very much important because before you go for crushing and pulverizing, you should have the pre-crushed coal can be economical for smaller units. So you can also have the pre-crushed coal in use when before you go for the crushing and pulverizing system, friends. So these things are important for you to understand, and you can highlight when you write about the short notes about the sizing of coal concern, friends. So they may ask you one full question on coal preparation, sizing of coal, and handling of coal, all these things, friends. So it's very important for you to understand as far as design is concerned. Proper size of coal for various type of firing system is given here. This table I'm not going to explain here. You can just go through and you can remember this table when you write it in the exam, friends. Now another important point is the conditioning of coal, where the fins in the coal present problems in combustion on account of segregation effects. So segregation of fins from large coal pieces can be reduced to a greater extent by conditioning coal with water. So this is the important aspect which you must understand, why the conditioning of coal is important, where you can segregate all the fins which is present with the coal, friends, when you are fitting inside the boiler. So this thing is also important. Water helps fins particles to stick to the bigger lumps due to the surface tension of the moisture. This is a process, the activity. I'm not going to explain you again here. Just you read it. It's very easy to understand. This entire activity is explained here briefly, and the way the coal can be conditioned such that any extra or foreign particles or any fins which is not acceptable, not required, may be removed or segregated. This is a way which can be done. So I'm not going to explain you again here. Everything here is easily understood once you read it. Now the next part is the blending of coal. In the case of coal, lots of having excessive fins, it's advisable to blend the predominant lumped coal with lots containing excessive fins. So coal blending also is very important, because coal blending may thus help to limit the extent of fins in coal being fired to not more than 25%. So you should also understand this particular term. Again, I'm not going to explain you what is coal blending all about. You can just go to the book and you can easily understand it. So basically, the three parts: the coal conditioning and coal preparation and blending of coal, is very much important for you to understand. And they may ask you briefly to explain it in the exam, friends. So with this, I am ending the part B of this chapter, friends. I'll come up with the part C now in a few days. I'll upload a video on part C also. I hope you have gone to the part A. If not yet, please go to the part A first, come back to part B and wait for part C. So all these important and equally important sections I have explained, I am trying to explain in different videos that may help you to prepare your exams, and friends. So I hope you must have enjoyed this video, and some relevant important points may be highlighted by me and it can be really useful for you in the exam, friends. So before I end up, please do subscribe my channel. This is my YouTube channel. The name of the channel is Energy and Environment Education, and please do connect with me. This is my mobile number 880006711509. Also my email ID, which is chandansudeep07@gmail.com. I have also a WhatsApp group link where you can connect with me, where I also post some videos, and also you can subscribe my channel because this will really motivate me to prepare more such videos in coming days. And also please press the bell icon, because this will help, this will get you the notification as soon as I post a new video in coming days, friends. So that's all for today. I hope this video is really useful for you, and also other videos that I have posted in my channel, please go through those videos also on different chapters. Also I'll be posting on different numericals and orbit type question important for your exam. Those things also I'm going to post in coming days. Please be connected with me, and stay safe, and please watch the other videos that I'm going to post in coming days, friends.